Hey guys. So I really just wanted to share my journey with you, well, at least a little bit of it, just because I think it's really important that we, as females, connect with each other and share these instances that we have so we realize that, one, we're not alone. We all go through these struggles. And two, this is real. Like, this is real life. This is really happening, and this is really what has helped me. And I'm so passionate about it, and honestly, I wouldn't be sharing this with you if I didn't think it could help you too. So, I'm just going to spill my heart to you and kind of tell you where I started and explain to you how my fitness journey evolved in my young adult life, and which I'm still a young adult, but throughout college and kind of how I've got to the point I'm at today. So, rewind, senior year of high school. I was with my high school sweetheart. We both had very different outlooks on where we wanted to be in life, but we really didn't have any idea at the time because we were young. So I kind of just followed his lead because he was older than me, and I just felt like he knew what was best. So he's the one that kind of started me into my first fitness journey. Growing up, I always played sports. I was involved in everything all throughout high school. I was on the dance team. I was actually a co-captain on the dance team. I was a cheerleader. I was the varsity cheer captain one year. I played tennis. You name it, I was in it. I danced at a studio, so I was always active. And if you know me and you've ever seen my mom, she's like this big. So I was always small. I never really had to worry about what I ate or worry about my physical activity or my fitness, and so I never did. I think playing sports just kind of helped me through that. So it was fine if I ate pizza rolls every day. Well, it wasn't fine, but that's what I did. I ate pizza rolls and ranch dressing every day. I ate pretty much whatever I wanted to or could get my hands on. Growing up, it was never there was never an emphasis on what healthy was or how to be healthy. Pretty much healthy at my house was finish your peaches and drink your glass of milk at dinner, which I hate milk, so that was always hard for me. But, and always try something once that you don't like. So my mom's once was every time she made it, so she would force me to eat like a spoonful of peas every time she made them, which I hate peas. But anyway, my point being, I was never taught healthy eating habits. And I don't blame anybody for that. I just think that's not something that my mom ever learned or was ever really, that important to her, because we never came from a history of, family members who struggled with their weight or struggled with any weight-related issues that were obvious. So that's a story for a different day. But anyway, so fast forward, freshman year of college, I was on birth control, and my birth control made me gain so much weight, and I was so uncomfortable. I didn't feel like myself. I felt like my senior year of high school is when I started. I felt like I was crammed into my dance costumes and my cheerleading outfits and stuff. So that's kind of when I first thought to myself, wow, I need to work out or eat differently or something. I need to fix this. But I really didn't know where to start. So my high school sweetheart, my boyfriend at the time, he was really into weightlifting and fitness and all of that kind of stuff, so I kind of just followed his lead. So we went to college, so I went to IU in Bloomington, and he transferred there my freshman year with me. He was already I believe he was a junior. Yeah, I believe he was a junior, but anyway, so transferred there. And all of a sudden I go from my small town where I know everybody and nothing surprises me to people from all over the country, all over the world. And my very first thought, I remember walking to the dining hall by myself, first day. I knew nobody there except my boyfriend at the time, and thinking, I am fat. I look terrible, I have ugly clothes, I have ugly hair, and I'm fat, and everybody around me is perfect and cute, and my boyfriend's never gonna like me. He's never gonna stay with me. He's gonna find one of these other girls. And that's just where my 18-year-old mindset was. Looking back, I wish I could tell 18-year-old Allie that's not the right mindset to be in. But that's where I was at the time. So I decided to go all in and do whatever he told me would work. So I started working out with him every single day. Sometimes I would work out twice a day. I was studying biochemistry at the time, and I was a pre-med student. So anytime that I had free, I was either studying or I was at the gym. And then from there, I became obsessed with everything I was putting in my body. So I became obsessed with food, and not in a good way. So I would limit everything that I ate. I would eat 3 meals a day, and they were very, very controlled. I can remember I would eat like 2 egg whites and some peppers for breakfast and coffee. And then for lunch, I would eat like a spinach salad with nothing on it, or a little bit of dressing and just vegetables. And then for dinner, I would eat like 1 chicken breast and veggies. So with the amount of physical activity I was putting in and the amount of brain power I was putting in, being a biochem major my freshman year, I was not in a good place. I was starving. I was always starving. I was so fatigued. I can remember just sitting in my dorm room with my chemistry book, just crying because I was so hungry. I couldn't grasp the concepts because I was hungry. My brain couldn't think. My brain couldn't function. I had cut out all carbs completely. And, later on, I learned that that was a completely wrong thing to do, but it was working, and I was losing a lot of weight. So I struggled with that my whole freshman year. And then I went home for the summer, and I started working at a hospital close to my hometown in the nutrition and dietary department. So there is where I got my first taste of what nutrition actually meant and how that could relate to your health, obviously from more of a medical standpoint, which was very, very interesting to me, being pre-med and very science-minded. That was super interesting to me, and I loved it. So I actually started taking those concepts that I was learning there and mixing them with what I knew from my science background, and started studying nutrition on my own so that I could learn how to better myself and how to help my patients and those around me. So I worked there throughout the summer between my freshman and sophomore year, and then I went back to college my sophomore year, back to Bloomington. At this time, I was still biochem, still pre-med, and at that point, I kind of started to see a shift in the way that I looked at food. I was still working out, still eating pretty good, but I wasn't as obsessed. Also at this point in my life, there were some other financial issues, and so I wasn't on my meal plan anymore. I was living in my own apartment, so I didn't really have the means to eat what I thought I should be eating. And now also I know that you can totally eat healthy on a budget, but at the time I was still struggling with that. So I ended up taking the second semester of my sophomore year off due to some family issues. So I moved back home, and I called up my old boss at the hospital, and I said, "Hey, Wendy, I really need my job back. Is there any way?" And she said, "Sure." So I started like the next day or the day after that, but I started within a few days. Went back there, and so I was at the hospital in my same nutrition role. The spring semester of my sophomore year and all summer. And at that point, in that time period, that boyfriend that I had and I broke up. So at that point, I kind of opened my mind and started thinking more for myself, which sounds so silly looking back, but I really started thinking for myself. I started thinking, what do I actually want? I hated biochemistry. It was so boring. I just kind of went with it because I was always good at science. I was good at that kind of thing. And after working in a hospital, I realized I don't even want to be a doctor. So I just felt like I wasted all this time on something I wasn't even passionate about and never gave another thought to. but I absolutely loved my job at the hospital, and I decided that I wanted to pursue dietetics. So I went back to school the fall semester of my junior year, and I switched my major to dietetics. At that point is when I really started seeing that is where my passion lied, was in food, and how that could affect me and others around me. So a lot of other things happened there. Fast forward, I ended up transferring to Ball State the second semester of my junior year, and I did not transfer into their dietetics program, which was devastating for me because I felt like, okay, I finally found what I'm passionate about, finally found what I wanted to do. I was a direct admit at IU. Due to my science background, I had pretty good grades, all of that. But Ball State didn't recognize the chemistry that I had tested out of. They didn't recognize a lot of the labs and stuff that I had done at IU. So I was starting from square one. And at that point, I kind of just felt like, you know, I'm never going to finish a degree. I'm never going to have a career. What am I going to do? So I ended up changing my major to food management and family and consumer science, and I started a catering business with one of my friends. So we had that catering business for about 2.5 years, and in that time I was still working at the hospital and you know, kind of moving up the ladder and doing whatever I could to help others on the outside with my nutrition knowledge. So I graduated from Ball State with a degree in food management and family and consumer science, and I had planned on working at the hospital. That's another story. I have lots of stories. That's another story for another day. But anyway, they ended up getting bought out by a bigger entity, and so my position in the nutrition department was dissolved. So at that point, I was still catering, and I kind of just lost track of what I was passionate about. I felt like I had been taken advantage of. I felt like I was missing something. I felt like I would never actually get to use this passion, and then I had somehow convinced myself that that's not even important, and I don't care anymore. Is pretty much what I convinced myself of. So I completely stopped caring about, you know, any kind of fitness, any kind of nutrition. It's always was kind of in the back of my mind. Like I would feel guilty if I like way overindulged, but I still did it. I drank every single weekend. Actually, I drank like Thursday through Sunday every week. I was keeping my grades up, and I was working full time, so I felt like that was fine. And I was, you know, I lost so much weight before, and somehow that just stayed off, and I was just still this itty bitty person, and I was good with it. So after I graduated college, then that's when things started taking a turn, and that's when I started seeing the repercussions of drinking all the time, eating Taco Bell at 3 a.m. That's kind of when all of that started to catch up to me. So I went through a couple little phases where I would get my nutrition on track, but I didn't really know what to do for fitness. I had a coworker that gave me like a Jillian Michaels 30-day shred, and I tried to do that, and I think I did like 3 days, and I was like, this is stupid, I'm not doing this. Nobody's even gonna know if I'm doing it or not. And that plays into my story later. So remember that. So anyway, I was just struggling, and I never really could regain that. So I just decided to kind of come to terms with, well, this is my body, and you know, this is just how I'm gonna be, and I'm just gonna save these jeans in case they fit me again, but they probably never will. So from there, fast forward a little bit further, Ben and I started dating. He's been my friend for years, but we just kind of got to a point where we decided that we liked each other, and we started dating, and I got way too comfortable and way too happy, and I just indulged in everything. So it was like our thing. And I'm not the only one. I've watched my mom do it. I've watched my friends do it. When you get comfortable with somebody or in a situation you're just happy and you're comfortable, it's like you come together over food. You're going out to dinner, you're having drinks, you're fixing things together at home. You're watching a movie and you're having snacks and all this kind of stuff. So Ben and I's thing was we went out to eat. So we ate all the time. Anytime we had a chance, we would eat. So we would go to families. I'd go over to his family and they would cook a bunch for us. We'd go to my family, they'd cook a bunch for us. We'd cook together. It was fun. And also, mind you, I was still catering. So I wasn't paying really any attention to what I was eating at all. And then last winter, I really decided I am so unhappy with myself, and I got to a point where I was just disgusted with myself. I felt like none of my clothes fit, like my jeans looked bad on me. I could see it in pictures. I could see it like in my face. And I told you that my mom is like this big, so I would go home and I felt so uncomfortable around my mom because I felt like I was so much bigger than her, which is stupid, but true. I just was really disgusted with myself, and I started to think, like, what am I gonna do? How am I gonna do this? So I first tried working out at the gym at my apartment. That was a bust. That lasted like maybe 2 weeks. And I hated it because every time I went there, it was packed. There was a bunch of people there. I felt like they didn't have the equipment that I needed. And I felt like I didn't really know what I was doing. I was trying to think back to that time where I worked out with that high school boyfriend and like, what did we do? I used to go to the gym all the time. What did I do? And I couldn't make heads or tails of it. And I felt like I was just wasting time. So then I was spending a bunch of time like on the treadmill or trying to do cardio, and I was just getting really worn out and really tired, and I wasn't seeing any results. I didn't really have a set eating plan. I was just trying to eat healthy, which I really struggled with. I need a little bit more structure than that. I need to be able to plan accurately, and I just wasn't putting the work in to do that, and so I just kept failing. So at that point, I had started following my coach, the girl who's my coach now. I had started following her on Instagram, and she was so inspiring to me. She had lost 45 pounds. She had started coaching. She was so happy. She was showing her workouts every day. She was showing like her eating and everything, and come to find out, she was doing Beachbody programs. And I thought, this is such a scam. Like, I've seen infomercials about this stuff, and I've heard of people doing like the 21-day fix, and I thought, this is just how is this happening? Like, this is a scam. But I kept following her, and I was watching everything she was posting. I was watching everything she was doing, and I realized, like, no, this probably work. Like, this is probably real. This is probably working. It's working for her. I'm watching her do it, so something has to be working here. Either that or she's living a secret life. But I'm like, she's posting her whole life, so this is definitely working for her. So I still had never reached out to her at the time, and I think she reached out to me twice, and I never replied to her. And looking back, I kind of feel bad, but I never replied to her. I didn't give her the time of day, and I just thought, like, she doesn't really care about me. She doesn't know me. She's never gonna know me. She doesn't care about my story, which is totally not true. But so I decided I would go purchase one of the programs on my own without going through a coach. Looking back, I wish I would have went through my coach, so I would have had that accountability and the knowledge that, the resource for knowledge that I needed at the beginning that I didn't have. But anyway, everybody starts somewhere. So I purchased the 21-day fix, and I just got the most basic package. I didn't get the Shakeology. I didn't get any of the pre-workout. I literally just got the DVD. And so when that came in, I thought, okay, I am going to replicate everything that my coach is doing and apply it to this 21-day fix. So I'm going to take every little piece of Beachbody, and instead of buying their product, I'm going to buy my own. So I first tried a protein powder called Vega, and I also went vegetarian right around this point. That's another story. Told you I have a lot of stories. And that's completely unrelated, really. But anyway, just thought I'd throw that out there. So whey protein has always really upset my stomach. Like I told you, I don't like milk, and I think that I've always been a little bit lactose intolerant. I think it's never really been diagnosed, but anyway. So that's why I chose Vega, because it was a vegan protein powder. It was all plant-based, blah, blah, blah. So I got that, and I got some cheapo pre-workout from Walmart. And I went and purchased my weights. So still, the weights that I bought the first time are still what I use now. They're just cheapo weights from Walmart, and they work just fine. That's still what I use. And I decided, okay, I'm going to do this for 21 days. I'm going to do this 21-day fix, and I'm going to follow it the best I can. It comes with a nutrition plan. It came with the Fixate containers, so the colored containers, and it kind of made everything cut and dry for you. It gives you like food groups, what you can eat, how much you can eat, and I just went all in. I was like, okay, I'm going to do this for 21 days, and if it doesn't work, then I'm just done, I guess. I don't know what I was going to do. So I started following 21-day fix. And I'll tell you, I only followed it 100% for probably the first week, and I had more treats than I should have. Actually, the 21-day fix doesn't really allow for any treats or cheats. I definitely did. I still went out a few times with friends and was drinking, and I still went out to eat with Ben. But most of the time, so I'd say about 80% of the time, I was following 21-day fix, and it worked. And I saw my first results. I could feel a difference in my body after about a week. The very first day that I did one of those workouts, I thought I was going to die. I felt like I was dying. And I remember being so embarrassed when I did, so I did it in the morning, and Ben came out of the bedroom, and I remember being so embarrassed for him to watch me, because I just felt like I'm so out of shape. I feel like I have fat flying everywhere, and he's gonna see me like sweaty and panting and not even being able to do these moves. And I felt like these are simple moves. I can do this. Like, why can't I do this? You know, a few years ago, I could have just, muscled through this whole thing. So I was just embarrassed. But I kept going. Ben never ever judged me. I kept going, and after the first week, I could definitely feel a difference in my endurance, and I definitely felt more stable. I remember feeling very unstable. I don't even know how else to explain that, like just very unstable when I was doing my workouts, and I just felt that kind of diminish and kind of go away. And then after, I want to say about 2 weeks is when I really noticed, like, oh my gosh, I've lost like 6 pounds, and I feel better. I feel like my clothes are starting to fit better. I could see a difference, and I could feel a difference. So I finished 21-day fix, and then I started again. So I did 2 rounds of 21-day fix, and at that time I had lost about 10 pounds, and my clothes were fitting better. My shirts that I wear to work were fitting me better. I didn't feel like I was like sausaged into my jeans. I just felt a lot better, and I was like, okay, this stuff works. Before I started my second round of 21-day fix, I did order the Shakeology, and I was still skeptical about that at that point. But I ordered it, and I'm so glad that I did. Another little blurb about me. Sorry, another super long video. Another little blurb about me. I'm hypoglycemic, so I've always struggled with my blood sugar. Flashing back to my freshman year of college, I think that was part of my problem, because I'd cut out all carbs, and it really, really affected my health. And then in January, right before I had started the 21-day fix, I had about a week long, well, I had one day where I had a major episode, but I had about a week long recovery time. After that, I couldn't hardly stand up. I was so dizzy. It was miserable. I was absolutely miserable. I was about to go on a week-long business trip to Atlanta where I knew I was going to be walking all day, and I knew I was the newbie, and I was just terrified. And I felt like I couldn't get my blood sugar regulated. It was making me dizzy, it was making me sick, it was making me nauseous. I can remember one day sitting on the couch and I had an episode, and I just remember Ben grabbing like the jar of jelly out of the fridge, and I told him, I need a spoon and I need the jelly and you need to put it in my mouth because I'm gonna pass out, like I'm not okay and I'm shaking. And after that point, I just remember thinking, like, I cannot let myself get to this point anymore. I can't. So after I recovered from that, I still had a couple instances, like I had a few days at work that weren't so good. But once I honestly, and I'm not just saying this, like honestly, once I started drinking the Shakeology every day, it has made a total difference in my blood sugar, like a total difference. I've not had one episode since I started drinking it. I drink it every day, and about every day. If I don't drink it every day, I try to. I always blend it up in the blender. I think it's good. I mean, it tastes like whatever. Like yesterday I had a coffee banana, I can't remember. It was like coffee, banana, cinnamon, but anyway, point being, it has seriously changed my life and changed my health overall. If you read the ingredients, it's just full of superfoods. So that's why I always call it superfoods, because that's what it is. It's just packed with superfoods that you don't see every day. It does have some things like quinoa and kale and that kind of thing in it that are more accessible, but there's a lot of superfoods in it that are not accessible to us every day. It only has 6 grams of sugar, and compared to like the Naked smoothies, I used to drink those a lot, those have like 26 grams of sugar in one serving. So that's ridiculous. Like that's a lot, and right there I felt like is a lot of the reason why I couldn't regulate my blood sugar, because the sugar intake that I was having was not matching up with where I needed to be. So anyway, long story short, Shakeology really, really played a part in my story. So fast forward again to when I finally reached out to my coach, and I decided I wanted to become a coach too. I told her, that I had done the 21-day fix twice and it worked for me, and I really wanted to see what else Beachbody had to offer. I loved what she was doing. I watched her quit her full-time job. So in the time that I had been following her, she quit her full-time job. She's making like 4 times what she was making a week there at her old job. And she's happier than she's ever been, and she's helping people. And that's the bottom line, is that I really want to just help other women get through these hard times and find their inner self and be comfortable in their own skin and feel healthy and know what health is, and know that it's possible for you, it's possible for your family, and that, no matter what struggles you've been through, no matter what you've tried, no matter how many times you failed, you can do this too. So anyway, enough rambling about me. If you sat through all of that, bless your heart, because that was a lot of talking. So anyway, I would love to hear your story. I would love to help you on your journey, and I would just love for us to be fitness friends and empower each other to keep going and to live healthy lives.